Hello, Tom, aka Gerion, your host here at Tabletop Tap Room. And today we've got an exciting kind of craft video here. We're going to talk about a new mapping method. I've not seen it done anywhere else, so I think I'm the originator of it. And it's scratch off mapping, kind of like a scratch ticket. Now, I don't know if you remember back in the day, when we were kids, we used to use the graph paper and you draw it out. And either you'd have the players draw it out and the game master would describe it. And if they made mistakes, that was their lookout. That was too bad. If mistakes crept into the map, some people played that way, and it was like you could make a wrong turn or a bad decision because the map that you drew as you listened to the game master describe didn't match. Or just the game, for simplicity, sometimes you just have the game master draw it. It will go a little bit faster. I fell away from RPGs for a period of time. When I got back, it was 3.5, and everybody had these vinyl maps, and you lay this on the table, and again, you get the drawing, 10 foot piece of 10 foot, 10 feet of hallway. And then there's a 4-way intersection, and it goes off, and your torchlight lets you see 30 feet down the hall. It goes 30 feet down that way, and it's just darkness. But 20 feet to the right, there'll be a door, and 30 feet to the left, there's a door. What would you like to do? And so you'd be drawing this out. And either, again, the players are drawing it as the game master describes, or the game master is just going ahead and drawing it to speed up play. Now, why scratch off mapping? Is it really going to do much for you? Well, the map's already drawn, and all you're doing is revealing it with the scratch of a coin. So I think this is going to speed up your play. It's going to eliminate a little bit of a bottleneck where a little bit of time is wasted on the mapping side. And I don't, if you're like me and a follower of Professor Dungeon Master on Dungeon Craft, and you use the Ultimate Dungeon Terrain, aka Dungeon Pizza, you're able to do the minis there, but you still have the map on the side. So I'm going to show you what I'm doing with these scratch off maps. And let me just run this little video to show you how the scratch off map works. So here we are. I've got my Game Master copy of the map that I'll have behind my screen, and this is mostly nearly dry. This a little thick there, and I can just tell by looking at it might be a little bit not 100% dry, but we're gonna press forward with this. And so I have the DM's map just to keep an eye on where I'm scratching and to know where I'm going with this, and you will just reveal as far as the players go on their map. And, you can clean it up if you like. And so you just start revealing as they travel, down to this chamber where there's a pit in the floor. There's some, and then as they travel down this deep pit and they reach the bottom, you begin to reveal more of the map. And you can reveal, like we're coming down to a little cavern here, you can reveal that there's a little bit more beyond where they're at, and it just gives them the hint that just beyond their torchlight is a little bit more. But I like it, and it's fast. There's no drawing. There's no slowing down to draw out these areas. I just scratch off the areas as they explore and stop. And so I have this map to stop myself from going too far and revealing things. The numbers on the map become a reminder that there's something there that I should go back and read and make sure that I'm ready for the players. So this is scratch off mapping, and I think it works great. It definitely takes a whole step that slows down this whole drawing of the map that tends to slow down in your D&D game, or whatever role-playing game you happen to be playing. So that was the scratch off mapping in action. Now let me show you how it's done. you're going to need some maps. And let's just go ahead and share the screen. So here we have the maps that I'm going to do scratch off material on. Now this is a map that I whipped up in dungeonmapdoodler.com. And I recommend it, and I recommended it because I wanted to do, for this adventure, I wanted to do a map like this out of the Moldvay Basic Rulebook, something that looked like this. And I just said, all right, I can do these top down, you know, these drone's eye view maps. Let me see if I can do a side view map with this. See if I can push this software to do it. And it did. I mean, it's reasonably pretty. It's not perfection, but it's reasonably pretty. It's got a reasonably good presentation to it. This is my Dungeon Masters with all the numbers on it put in here. Here's some other maps done in Dungeon Map Doodler. You can see on this one that I've just put a wandering monster table right on there in the map program. So the map program is pretty flexible. You do some copy, some text in there. Let me show you the next one. The next one here, I did not put a wandering monster table, but I put my map legend right over here. Is my map legend. So it was flexible enough for me. And so here we are. Now you're going to need 2 copies of the map you put scratch off on. And the reason being is you're not going to be able to see what you're scratching to reveal as you go. So you need the Dungeon Masters map, and you need a clean version that you're not going to put numbers on. You're not going to put the secret doors on. And that's the one you're going to laminate. So 2 ways to laminate. You can just take your map and run down to the local office supply store, Staples, Office Max, whatever you have in your area. Lamination is pretty cheap, honestly. But if you want to be frugal and even cheaper, packing tape. My first map I did with packing tape. And you're just going to be and you're going to be laying it out in strips, and you have to be careful and exact and get the strips of tape lined up next to each other without much of a little crevice between them. And so you can be frugal, or maybe you just don't have time before the game to run down to your local office supply store. You might resort to this, which is what I did with the first map. My second map, I had time. I ran down to the office supply store and just had it laminated. And I don't recommend the thicker lamination. The thinnest lamination they have various grades at the Staples that I went to. And I went with the thinnest, and it was sufficient. This is a token from the Maine State Lottery. You walk into any convenience store, gas station that sells lottery here in Maine, and the lottery actually provides these to the place. They'll have like a bag of them. They'll put a couple out on the counter where people like to scratch their tickets, and they give them away for free. And so I just grabbed this. I actually grabbed a couple because I had an idea for crafting with them. So I just grabbed a bunch because they were giving them away for free. And the reason why I like this is it's nice. It's because of the diameter. It puts a lot of edge on the map for scratching. Whereas a penny or a dime, you're going to work at it to reveal what you need to reveal. And I just feel like this, or a $50 kind of coin, a bigger coin with a wider diameter, is going to give you more edge on the map. So that's my little recommendation. And like I said, I grabbed these at the convenience store right off the top of the lottery machine. They had them laying there for people to grab and use and take them. And so that's my little lottery token that I'm going to use for the scratch off map. So let's go to the craft room, and I'm going to show you how prepping these maps are done. All right, so here we are. We're going to mix up some scratch off paint for our map to make our map the scratch off model. Now the basic recipe is very simple. It's 1 part paint to 1 part soap. So let's just measure out with a little teaspoon here. We're not going to need a lot. And good healthy spoonful of paint. I like to go a little bit more than I did with the soap. And you want this to be a little bit runny. And now we are ready to do our map. So here we have the map that I've laminated. So here we have the map that we've laminated. We've mixed up our scratch off paint, and we're just going to cover the areas that we want to obscure. Now I'm hoping that with the Onyx Black we get some good opacity, and I only have to do this for one coat just to save time. The first time I did this, I think I had to actually do 3 coats, and it was with a lighter gray. Now we're going to give this a chance to dry, and we'll come back and inspect whether or not we're looking like some good opacity there. Let's just thicken this up. A nice thick layer for it to scratch off. And I think we're going to be good. Craft Art paint, the cheap stuff you get at, your Lowe's, not Lowe's, your Walmart, or hobby, the hobby places that sell it. So, this went for $2.99, $3. That was pricey. Used to be you bought it for $1 for this size. But, so it's looking like we're really getting some good opacity with it, with the Onyx Black. So that was an improvement over your grays. We'll give this a chance to dry up, and then we'll come back and see how it goes. So the shavings, I don't know if you remember when you were a kid. The shavings are kind of like white glue when you'd put it on your hands and then you'd rub your hands together and get it off, and all the dirt on your hands and the glue would all kind of rub together like, that's what the shavings are like. It's just like that. They're a little, this one happens to be just slightly tacky, but I hadn't fully really let the paint dry. I mean, it was dry. I'd put it in front of a heater that was blowing heat across it, and it dried fairly fast. But so that's what the shavings are like. I don't think they're that messy. They're easy enough to clean up. And it's definitely a faster method of revealing a map to the players. So I'm all in on the scratch off mapping. It just takes a little bit of prep time. That would be the drawback on it, that there's prep time that you've got to do it. You got to print the map. You got to laminate it, paint the scratch off material on it. And it's actually very easy to just make up a little bit of scratch off material. This was a teaspoon of dish soap and a teaspoon of acrylic paint. And there's plenty left over in the little cup. Now, I had made a large amount the first time, and it sat there and it separated. So, it will separate if you let it sit a long time. I don't see that there would be any big issue other than stir it up, whip it good. So, scratch off mapping. Try it out. Let me know what you think. Is it saving you time in your gaming? Because that's the point, is to save a little bit of time and not have those bottlenecks of time. It's because I've talked to people who play 5e, and they tell me that 5e is not significantly faster than 3.5, actually fourth edition was the last edition I actively played of Dungeons and Dragons before going back to basic expert and going a much more OSR route. So, I've just found the whole mapping procedure to slow down. And I hope this helps you with your game, speeding it up. It's I've enjoyed all the other methods I've used, vinyl maps. I mean, when we were kids, graph paper, just drawing it on paper and not really worrying about measurements on big white paper. Done that too. But this seems to be the fastest method. And, when you're time pressed, when you're time poor, you don't want to waste the time. and you want to actually get somewhere with your adventure. So this is the method that may help you shave a little bit of time, and a little time here, a little time there adds up to maybe an extra encounter for a limited night of gaming with friends. So this is Tom from Tabletop Tap Room. Thanks for watching the video. Thanks to all my subscribers and all the positive messages I've received from you guys. You guys are great. Keep on gaming. Until next time.